cosa, porque tú sabes que es una cosa para que nosotros, los jugadores importantes, las estrellas, intentamos cambiar, porque es una cosa que se pasa mucho en el campo y que no podemos aceptar. Al final somos aquí para jugar fútbol, para dar alegría a la gente, y yo pienso que sea Benfica, que sea Real Madrid, tenemos que dar el buen mensaje, y espero que Benfica, que es para mí el mejor club de Portugal, uno de los mejores del mundo, se van a tomar decisiones con este jugador, porque no es posible que un club con esta imagen, que yo siempre he tenido una gran imagen de Benfica, que ha tenido muchos jugadores increíbles, tiene una afición increíble, un entrenador que para mí es uno de los mejores de la historia, no pueden dejar pasar eso, y espero que se van a hacer algo.
¿Y qué esperas de la competición de la UEFA?
No soy aquí para dar lecciones a la UEFA. A la UEFA es verdad que ha intentado hacer muchas cosas por el racismo, pero ahora tenemos muchas cámaras. Tú puedes ver, mira su cara. Hay cosas que no mientes.
One of the most famous athletes on the planet right now isn't just preparing for a football tournament. He's out here sparking basketball debates too, and people have thoughts. Kylian Mbappe is currently stateside. The Real Madrid striker and France captain has touched down in North America ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, and the energy around this tournament is already unlike anything we've seen on this continent. For Mbappe personally, this one carries extra weight. He lifted the trophy back in 2018, was part of that golden generation that looked unstoppable. Then came Qatar 2022, and it still stings. France went toe-to-toe with Argentina in one of the greatest finals in World Cup history, pushed it all the way to penalties, and lost. Lionel Messi finally got his moment. Mbappe, despite scoring a hat-trick in that final, a performance that would have won almost any other game in history, went home without the trophy. So yeah, hosting rights on North American soil in 2026 feels like destiny calling for him. But before any of that gets going, Mbappe sat down with Bleacher Report for a wide-ranging interview, and they asked him a question that had absolutely nothing to do with football. They asked him to name his top 5 NBA players right now. And Mbappe, who has never hidden his love for basketball, didn't hesitate. He rattled off 5 names without blinking. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Luka Doncic, and Jayson Tatum. Now let's break this down, because there's a lot happening in that list. Starting with LeBron, look, nobody is shocked. LeBron James is the most globally recognized basketball player alive, and at 41 years old, he is still producing at an elite level. This past season, he averaged over 20 points, 6 rebounds, and 7 assists in 60 regular season games and helped carry the Lakers into the postseason. The man literally will not age. For any sports fan around the world who has watched the past 2 decades of basketball, LeBron is as automatic a pick as it gets. Luka Doncic at number 2, and this one is personal for Mbappe, almost. Both of them have a Real Madrid connection. Mbappe plays for the football club. Doncic played for the basketball section before making the jump to the NBA. There's a brotherhood there, a shared understanding of what it means to be a young European kid carrying the weight of an entire fan base on your shoulders. And on the court, Luka led the entire NBA in scoring this season at 33.5 points per game before a hamstring injury cut his campaign short. The talent is undeniable. The connection between these two makes the pick feel completely natural. Kevin Durant and Giannis rounding out the group. Again, you're not going to find many people arguing with that. Durant is one of the most gifted pure scorers the sport has ever produced, a 7-foot player who handles and shoots like a guard, and Giannis remains one of the most physically dominant forces in the league. These are names that transcend the sport. Any football player who watches basketball casually is going to know those too. But the pick everyone is talking about is Jayson Tatum. And here's the angle that makes this even more interesting. Mbappe gave a quiet nod to Duke University with that selection. Tatum is a Duke alum, and Mbappe had options. Cooper Flagg, the most hyped prospect to come out of college basketball in years, went through Duke. Kyrie Irving wore the Duke jersey. Jalen Johnson came out of that program. The Blue Devil pipeline into the NBA is deep right now. But Mbappe went with Tatum, the 2024 NBA champion, a 6-time All-Star, and one of the most skilled two-way players in the entire league. Coming off an Achilles injury that would have ended most players' seasons, Tatum fought back faster than expected and still found a way to contribute meaningfully for the Celtics this year. That kind of resilience doesn't go unnoticed. And then there's the omission that has the internet going crazy. Victor Wembanyama, the San Antonio Space Center, Mbappe's own countryman, a generational talent who the basketball world has been calling the most unique player to enter the league in decades. 7'4", moves like a point guard, blocks shots from angles that shouldn't even be possible. Wembanyama is right now in the middle of the NBA Finals against the New York Knicks, performing on the biggest stage the league has. And somehow, his fellow Frenchmen didn't include him in the top 5. Think about that for a second. Mbappe looked at a list that includes the biggest names in basketball history, names that kids in every country on earth grew up idolizing, and he put Tatum ahead of Wembanyama. He put a guy rehabbing from an Achilles tear ahead of a 21-year-old phenom who some people are already comparing to prime players they've never seen before. Whether that's because Mbappe simply watches the established stars more, or because he genuinely hasn't been sold on Wembanyama yet, or because the question asked for his personal 5 rather than an objective ranking, we don't know. But the snub has people talking, and it's not going away quietly. The timing of this interview adds another layer. France opens their 2026 World Cup campaign on June 16th at the MetLife Stadium in New Jersey, the home of the New York Jets and the New York Giants. That venue holds over 80,000 people, and it is going to be electric for an opening group stage match. Mbappe will be captain, will be the focal point of every camera on that pitch, and will be carrying the expectations of an entire country that has been waiting for years to get back to the top. The basketball conversation is a glimpse into who Mbappe is beyond the pitch. He follows the NBA closely, he has opinions, he's not just dropping names for attention. The man knew the Duke connection before anyone had to point it out. That's a genuine basketball fan. But right now, football is the mission. A World Cup on home turf for the Americas, with Mbappe in full health, leading one of the most talented squads in the tournament. He came close in 2022. He scored 3 goals in a World Cup final and still lost. That kind of near miss either breaks a player or it defines them. Everything about how Mbappe has carried himself since that night in Lusail suggests it defined him. The basketball debate can wait. The real game starts June 16th.